Hello, everyone. This is Doug Wilkerson with Central Christian Center and Saturday Night Live Life Recovery Ministry here in Joplin, Missouri. Um, Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. This is a encouraging word with Doug, and hopefully it will be encouraging for you. That it'll be something that maybe will inspire you, give you some hope, give you something to hold on to um, maybe, well, my title here is about having a happier life, and maybe it'll help you to find your way to a happier life. Now, I ask questions, and even though I can't hear you, sometimes I feel like I can. So anyway, I got some questions I'm gonna be asking some thought questions, you might say, and uh, but it's all intended to try to help you, not to hurt or harm you, but to try to lift you up, help you, empower you, strengthen you, give you that hope that I was speaking about. Because we're all together in this messed up, crazy, messy world, and we all have messy lives, and we here at Central Christian Center, we want to try to help you to put your life together, and some of you put your life back together, and sometimes it takes multiple times to put our lives together, but that's part of the process because we have to make this changeover inside because we fall into this cesspool of life, and sometimes it takes us over. But anyway, I've kind of deviated from my plan here today, but my title for today is "What are the four things we all need for a happy life?" Now, I looked at a lot of different things, and I've been talking a lot about this in the last several weeks, and I feel like this is a big question because we keep going through this. Anyway, I got several different ideas. This is not the four things are not all inclusive, but I think it lines up with some of the other things that I've said, and I took apart from one fella and added some things to it. But anyway, uh, here are the uh, here are some. Before I get into the four things, here are some questions, okay, to go along with the question that I just asked, okay, and that is, um, why can't we give God a chance to ease our own suffering? Why do we feel like we have to punish ourselves and beat ourselves up and do it all ourselves and try to make ourselves flawless or perfect? I'll talk more about that in a little bit. To be okay, and even after we do that, it's not good enough. We're never okay because we keep raising the standard, and that's the way we perfectionists are. And by the way, I'm a recovering perfectionist. In some ways, I think I'm way better, and in other ways, I'm still getting started. Uh, the second big question that I've written down here is, well, actually, I guess it'd be kind of third if we take the title as a question. Why is it that we resist God so much? Why is it that we fight God all the time? We see Him as our foe. Um, we contend against Him. We blame everything on Him. We make Him the bad guy when and maybe you've had bad experiences and people have blamed God, but the fact of it is that really true? That God is the reason for some of your bad experiences? If you really looked at it, could it be possible that God is the only reason you're still alive, the only reason why you're still breathing, the only reason why uh, that you're still moving on, because He has intervened in your life in so many ways. If you stop and look at it, you can see, maybe you can't see it in the moment, but you can look back and see those supernatural events that took place in your life that if it wouldn't have happened, you wouldn't have made it. Oftentimes those things slip by and we don't even pay attention to them. But think about it. Just think about it. Why do we resist God so much? Is it just because we want our own way? We want to do our own thing? We're not going to have anybody tell us what to do? Could it be? Maybe. Think about it. You can't move forward if you're not willing to be aware. Now, as soon as you become aware, that doesn't mean it fixes everything, but that's progress. And we're not about perfection. We're about progress. Okay? Next question was, can God love me or you if I'm a messy person? If I'm messed up, if I just things are not right, I keep doing the same thing over and over that's wrong. Can He love me? Well, He loved Apostle Paul. Paul even said in Romans chapter 7, verse 14, 15, 16, he said, that I would do, I don't do. Oh, wretched man that I am. Wretched, messy, wretched man that I am. Who will deliver me from this body of death? That means a stinking mess. Messed up, jacked up. So, yes, he loves you just the way you are. I have a quote here that came to my mind by Spinoza. Spinoza said this. He says, emotion, which is suffering, ceases to be suffering as soon as we form a clear and precise picture of it. What that means to me, and I many years ago, I went over this because it may sound kind of elusive to you, and it did to me in the very beginning. But it means a lot to me nowadays, and I want to touch on it just a little bit. But he said that emotion, which is suffering, he sees suffering as emotional struggle here. Okay, whether it's sadness or whether it's joy, there's this emotional struggle going on. And we impose upon ourselves struggle. We decide we decide our own torment. We torture ourselves. Isn't that true? Don't you torture you? You are your worst judge. You are your worst enemy. It's not the enemy out here, it's the enemy in me. Okay? And in you. So he says emotion, which is suffering, ceases to be suffering. Okay? It stops being suffering. When? He says, as soon as we form a clear and precise picture of it. As soon as we accept that it's reality, it is the way that it is, and we accept responsibility for our part of it, and we deal with it. And instead of torturing ourselves over why it happened, why it is, why I made that decision, we have to accept what is. And when we come to that place, when we get a clear picture of it without all the false fantasy issues and blaming and projecting and all the other stuff, when we get a clear picture of it, the suffering ceases. That doesn't mean that all the pain is over and that it's not hard, but that emotional self-torture is over. Let's go on. So, what are the 4 things that we need for a happy life? This is not all inclusive, but these are 4 things that maybe they can help you. Maybe one of these things will help you. Maybe all 4 of them will help you. I know that they can help you, but we're talking about what you can grab a hold of. Okay. Number 1, and I agree with this. Someone to love. someone to love. Something to help you to have a healthy life. You got to have a helpmate to help you in through life, to balance you out, because we don't have everything. We need to have that other person there. That's the reason why it's so important to have not only a helpmate or a spouse, a wife, a husband, uh, to help you navigate through life, because we can't see everything, we can't do everything. We It takes a team, um, and also not just a spouse, but you also need to have a friend network to help bring you into that, because a network is better than just a single line. Okay, and if you have a network, uh, that helps you to be more emotionally regulated. That one person helps you to be emotionally regulated, and that one is significant. And the other friendship, connection, relationships are important, and they can help us in so many ways to regulate ourselves emotionally, because we have to regulate ourselves. If we don't take care of ourselves, if we don't have self-care, then we'll fall down that hole, that abyss that wants to swallow us up. And if we're not careful, we'll just say, "Oh, that's what I deserve," and we just fall headlong into it and give up. We can't give up. Don't sabotage yourself. Don't sabotage yourself. Don't be your worst enemy. Be your best friend. Okay? You'll say things to yourself, silently, or in your brain, in your mind, towards you, that you'd never stand for anybody else to say. But you'll torture yourself with it. Why? Why do we do that? That is not right. That is not right. That is not godly. I know that's kind of a big punch, huh? Anyway, number 2, uh, something to do. We have to have something to do. We have to have a purpose. We have to have a focus. We have to be moving, because I think God created us as creators, and that we have to be engaged in the world, and we're doing something. We have to have a purpose. We have to have a focus. Nietzsche said, as if I can pull it up here because it just came flying through. He says we can endure any we can endure anything if we have a big enough how. No, we can endure any how if we have a big enough why. I think that's it. If we have a big enough why, we can do anyhow. And so we can do anything if we have that purpose. Because we hold on to it, but it's holding on to us. We have to have this purpose. Sometimes it's raising a family. We have moms that raise family, dads that work in that family, dads that may raise family. We have grandparents that raise family. We have people that are surrogate moms and dads. We have surrogate grandparents. We have people that come alongside to help, to be support and helpers and sponsors and guides and coaches and pastors and teachers and elders, and we have all these different helps to try these relationship networks out here to help us. And the fact of it is, when you're stronger, we're all stronger. Okay, it helps me when you're better, whether I even know you or not. That's the way it is. In quantum physics, it's proven out. And spiritually too. Because we're all one in the spirit. So number 3, something to look forward to. We need to have that goal. We all need to have that target that we're shooting for, that service. We need to be engaged in service. One of the things that helped me so much in growing up is being able to be connected to where I am able to serve, to help. because that gave me a responsibility and helped me to tap into talents in me that would help others when I didn't believe in myself, but could reach down and pull out stuff that would help others. And it helped me also. That's what a lot of the helping industry is all about, is helping ourselves, but we do it in such a way that we learn to be able to help others, and we help ourselves in the process. Isn't that true? And so as we help, we all grow together. We all learn together because we all need each other. So we need something to look forward to. We need to have a target. I remember Dr. Victor Frankl. He said that people in the Nazi death camps, soon as they lost that thing that they were hoping for, as soon as they lost their hope, the reason to survive, okay, if they heard their family members were dead, sometimes they just gave up, or just or they had an arbitrary time that they thought that things would be over, everything would be over by Christmas or by Easter or by X time. And I also heard this. I think it was Jeremiah Johnson. I believe in. I think that's correct. In the Vietnam War, that he said that soldiers would do the same thing there. They'd set up these times, and when it didn't come to fruition, that they'd get severely depressed and give up. And he said that what he did was he knew he was going to get out. He didn't know when, but he knew that he was, and he did. And so, anyway, we have to have a target. We have to have a purpose. We have to have something to engage in. Okay, and we hold on to it, but it holds on to us. Number 4. I want to back up to number 1. I meant to say this, and as someone to love, I know that one of the things that turned my life around was that I found my wife. Of course, she wasn't my wife for a long time because I was slow. And I say all the time, what saved me was my wife and Jesus. And actually, I found my wife before I found Jesus. But I think she was instrumental in helping me to make that connection. And then I helped her make that connection. And we helped each other make those connections. And she has been there to help me all along the way because, hey, I need a lot of help. So anyway, someone to love is so important to bring into your life. And if you can't, there's been research say if you can't do that with a person, maybe you can do it with a pet, an animal. Horse, dog, cow, maybe even a cat. And so, anyway, it depends on what you're able to connect with. Okay, I heard a story about a man one time that his counselor told him he needed to learn how to hug, and because he didn't hug anybody, he wasn't hugged as a child, and so the therapist said, "Start hugging your dog." And so he started hugging his dog, and that helped him to establish that hugging pattern where eventually he was able to start doing that with his kids, his family. So anyway, number 4. I think they're all important. I think number 4 is extremely important, and that is have a relationship or get a relationship with God. That was one of the significant pieces in my life, and I've seen it in many lives throughout my ministry career, which has been, well, I accepted the Lord in 1972, and I got involved with the church here, Central Christian Center, in 1970, well, the end of 72 or 1st of 73, and getting involved and serving and working and learning and and then became a part of the ministry staff in 1975. And so it's so important. And my relationship was developed. Relationships, it's not it's not all at once. It's developed. It's grown. It has to grow and mature, and I had to learn how to allow myself to be compatible with God. That means I have to change. I have to grow. I have to change my thinking. That nature that I thought I was, I just believed that. We believe lies sometimes, and we have to line ourselves up with the truth. And I wanted that. I wanted to know the truth because I knew the truth was in my best interest. It was good for me, even though it was hard to transform myself in alignment with the truth. But I'm still working on it. I'm better than I used to be. I'm not as good as I'm going to be. So the relationship with God, a healthy personal relationship with God, and your relationship doesn't have to be like my relationship. It just needs to be your relationship. And where you start is not where you're going to finish. That's the way all relationships are. Okay. All right. Question here. Why are we so hard, judgmental, and self-punishing towards ourselves? I kind of already touched on that a little bit. But why are we that way? And I believe it's because we want to right ourselves, and we feel like punishment is the only way to do it. So we say we'll teach ourselves a lesson. We'll punish ourselves. But the fact of it is, punishment doesn't fix us. All it does is torture us. Now, somewhere along the line, we may make a decision to change, okay? But see, Jesus paid the price for our sin, and He forgave us, because what changes us is not the punishment. What changes us is His love, His grace, His mercy. And as we embrace that, it empowers us to change. That's the reason why it's so important to have someone to love. That's the reason why it's so important to have a relationship with God. These things help us. They empower us. And to have something to do, a purpose, a goal, a service, these things empower us. They even though we're kind of holding on to them, they're holding on to us because it reaches in to us deeply. I know I kind of went into a little preach there. So who can be perfect anyway? Who can be perfect? Nobody can be perfect. Okay? I know the scripture says be perfect as I am perfect, but you look up that and you look that up in the Greek and it says that is be mature, grown up, full nature. Okay? That means you're changing, growing, but be mature as He is mature. Grow up in that, in your character, in your wisdom. Okay? Can God love me? Here we go. Can God love me if I'm a messy person? Are you a mess? Are you messed up? The answer to that is yes. Yes, 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 yes. He can love you. He does love you, even if you are messed up. Even if you are a messy person. Even if you're a stinky mess. You may ask a question. Do I have scripture for that? I'm glad you asked that question. I want to start off with New Testament. Okay, Matthew 12:20. This is out of the ESV version. It says, "A bruised reed He will not break, and a smoldering or smoky wick He will not quench or put out." Okay. Before I explain all of that, I want to jump down and go to the Old Testament, Isaiah, which is very, very similar. And this is out of the Berean Standard Bible. It says, "A bruised reed He will not break." Okay? and a smoldering wick he will not extinguish. He will faithfully bring forth justice. These are as I was preparing these scriptures came to me last night, and I wasn't going to use them, but I decided this is what I need to share today to help bring this all together. And a bruised reed, in other words, a bruised or broken reed, a piece of grass that's broken, to a lot of us it is worthless, but to God it's valuable. If you feel you're broken, if you feel you're bruised, if you feel you're beat up, if you feel you're worthless, He says He's not going to tear you down. He's not going to make it worse. He wants to build you back up. He knows your value. He sees your purpose. He knows you. Okay? And He says a smoldering or smoky wick. In the Old Testament, this is made reference to a lantern that they had. They had kind of like a bowl. They had oil in it, and they had put flax and a wick substance in it like wool, and they would light it to have light, like a candle, okay, a lantern, and it would go pretty good. But when the oil would run out, the flax and the wool or the wick there would start to smoke, and it would stink. They said it would just stink terribly. So they said there's not too many worse stinks than this smoldering wick, smoky, and it will just smoke and smoke and smoke and smoke and smoke. And the scripture here says, even if you stink, He's not going to put you out. He's not going to quench you. He's not going to put His finger on you and put out that smoke. What's He going to do? He's going to do just the reverse. He's going to fire you back up. He's going to put some oil in there. He wants to give you fresh oil. He wants to renew you. He wants to strengthen you. Yeah, you let yourself run dry, but He's not going to punish you for letting yourself run dry. You'll punish you. You've already inflicted punishment on you by running out. He wants to re-infuse you with the oil of gladness, of joy. He wants to put that in there. He wants that flame to come back up. He wants you to continue to be what He designed you to be to fulfill your purpose. Yeah, you may be a real mess, but He's not out to punish you. He's not out to put you out. He's here to help restore you, to renew you, to bring you that fresh oil. Just breathe in and receive. Receive. Yeah, you may be still a little stinky, but go ahead and get in that oil, that joy, that forgiveness, that mercy. Mercy. He said He'll take that and cast those sins from the east to the west. That's how far apart He'll separate them. And He doesn't remember it anymore. You'll remember it. He doesn't want you to remember it. He wants you to let it go. He wants to bring new life. He wants to bring justice into your life. If you've been wrong, He wants to heal you. He wants to help you to come to the place that you're able to get through that injustice and go on and live again. I hope today's been an encouraging word. I know I covered a lot of different things, but I just want to say, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May His face shine upon you and give you His peace. Make healthy choices. Make healthy choices. Hey, a good, healthy choice would be in church. this coming Sunday. And if you don't have a church, or if you do have a church like Central Christian Center, come and be with us. And if you get a chance, let me know. Let me know what you think. If you have a good idea that you'd like me to share on, whether it's through the internet or in person. It always encourages me when someone walks up and said, hey, that I listened to you, that helped me. I didn't know. I had a lady last week said, I didn't know you were even here. And I'm so glad that I found you. I said, well, I'm glad you are too. She said, that made her happy. It made me happy that she is happy. So anyway, take care of yourself. See you on Sunday. Till next time.